Guys, I came out to show you a video about my front garden, but there is this dude. Let's see if I can get a better picture. Look, this little lizard right there hanging out in my mint plants. Isn't that cool? Well, I definitely got distracted by that lizard hanging out in the mint plant. I've never seen that kind of pest control before. That was pretty cool. If you look here, it actually looks like we have a flea beetle hanging out too. So I'm definitely appreciative of the pest control, but this mint plant grows so wild during the spring. It was just a tiny plant start last year, and so it's really just taken over. So this is going to make a lot of tea. I'm definitely going to dehydrate it. It's a great time to cut it because it's all going to come back and continue to grow until late winter. Here we have some oregano. No, that is incorrect. This is not oregano. This is cilantro, and look, it's actually blossoming. This is an F2, so this is the second generation from the plants that I've grown from seed, and it's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited about this. It's actually above my waist, so that's really cool too, and it is everywhere. Kind of see it, just let it grow wherever it wants to. I already have over a gallon bag just in my freezer of cilantro, so this is going to be an insane amount. Down here I have one of my tea roses. Guys, this is the rose that's also like my profile picture for Instagram, Pinterest, everything. So it's gotten so big. It was just a little bitty flower last year. I'm really excited. I did not know that this actually has thorns, but these are really good because you can make jelly out of them. They actually have a perfumey taste though. They're beautiful if you want to cut them for weddings, dry the petals, make jelly, make tea. These are the seed pods right here, and you can actually open them up and they're little seeds that you can grow. But this rose does have thorns. When I first bought it, I didn't know that. It didn't look thorny, but surprise. Here's our little chive plant growing. It is getting so big. I'm really excited. Sorry, there's a lot of shadowing. It's hot. It's Texas. There's a lot of sun. Here are some of my pepper plants. I'm really excited about that. We have some California Wonder Pepper, have some shishito peppers. We have some Tabasco. So these are going to really take over once all the winter and early spring crops kind of clear out. Here are the carrots we're always kind of showing off. These are actually, I don't see a pretty good sized carrot. I kind of dig around the tops to see, and these are pretty small still, but they really just kind of take care of themselves. For me, it's a really lazy crop, so that's exciting. Here's another grapevine that I have. It's a muscadine cross. I'm really hoping to kind of put a trellis in. Here, those are the seed pods for our radishes, and these are Daikon radishes, so I'm pretty excited. This is a volunteer from last year. This is a little green Tomatillo, so that's pretty cool. You can't beat that when they just volunteer themselves. My son actually sprinkled a ton of native flowers in here. I have no idea what this is. I have no idea what a few of these things are. I can tell you that we are riddled with buttercups. So now that they're dying and producing seed pods, it might be a good time to rip that out. Or next year, there may be no room for anything but buttercups. Here is our red Swiss chard. It's one of my favorites. I really love the different colors. I have an orange one here, but it really, once they start to breed together, they all kind of mix and become one color over time. So you really do have to resow them. This is the yellow. It is really cool. This is one of my favorites. This is the first year I've grown the yellow that I can remember. So I'm excited about that. Look at this. Yet another Tomatillo plant. If you're interested in learning how to grow tomatillos, I actually have a small series on growing them. That's one of the easiest things to grow here in Southeast Texas. So if you're in zone 9 or lower, you will have no issue. Here's my fennel bulb. This fennel I made a video about. It actually had 4 or 5 bulbs on it, and I harvested all the smaller ones and left the larger one, and here it is. So it's pretty massive. It's way bigger than my hand. So Florence Fennel is definitely a perennial in this area. Check that out. Little lady beetle hanging out. That's pretty nifty. So if you want to grow it, I know it's a lot of times it's grown for one bulb, but hey, I say take advantage of its perennial nature. Look at this. Look how many bulbs are there. Just, this is filled. This could be harvested so many times. But a lot of people in my family aren't a fan of the licorice flavor. But let me tell you, I already have a freezer full off of that other small plant. So I'm just so amazed. All of these ferns can be used. The whole plant is edible. You can use the ferns for tea, to dry. I like to take the bulb and add some type of sweetener and make a healthier version of licorice, which is really cool. You know what you're getting and where it's coming from. Here's our oregano plant. This is one of the first plants I ever planted in this garden. They say a lot of plants don't do well with Florence Fennel, but here this guy is going really strong, just kind of growing all through the Florence Fennel and really using it as a trellis. So that's spicy Italian oregano. Oh no, look at this. I don't know what these are, but they are all over these flowers. Check that out. Oh, that's kind of gross. So I definitely need to look this up, because if this is a harmful insect, then we need to figure out what's the best route of attracting what we need to attract to kind of take care of it there. I've never in my life seen that before. So please, if you have any idea what this is, let me know, because yeah, not cool. Here's some more of that up close. Oh my goodness. They really just look like tiny little beetles. Kind of an emerald color. I'm really hoping this isn't the emerald beetle, because they're little tiny, and emerald beetle is usually larger, but it is a horrible attacker of trees, especially the ashwood tree, and it's an invasive species that's really caused a huge devastation in the ashwood forest. Coincidence? I think not. That's actually how we got our name, because our last name means ashwood, and we're people who live near the ashwood, so we just thought it would be a really fitting name. Here's this broccoli. It's a sprouting broccoli. It's a destiny broccoli. It's sprouting now. It's actually produces a head, and when you cut it off, it produces a lot of florets around it. Where the plan is to let this go ahead and seed and collect seed from it, but these leaves are all edible. The stalk is edible. It's all edible. The flowers are actually even edible, so it's really not being wasted. Here's another flowering radish. Look at that. And this one here is one of my favorites. It's the Daikon Radish. This is just the part sticking up out of the ground. I'm waiting for these to dry up, and then I'm just going to go ahead and pull this radish up and eat it. So there's two of them that are pretty decent size. I really like radishes. Any kind of root crops, turnips, beets that can be left in the ground and cut up, they're just really fun for me. Look at this. This is a baby artichoke. I planted it during the winter, and it's just really taking off. It looks small, but really it's just because all these plants have grown up around it. But pretty soon spring will be over, and all of this will be dead, and that plant is going to grow up 3-4 feet high, 4 feet wide. I'm definitely going to let some of it flower, because it's just absolutely breathtaking when they flower. And if you didn't know this, artichoke's actually just a giant milk thistle that's edible. So we're actually eating the immature flower bud. And I did not know that. But I do love milk thistle, because it's so important to so many different types of medicines. I have no idea what this plant is, but it is growing, so hopefully it's something beneficial. Like I said, my son just sprinkled in all sorts of wildflower seeds, and that means buttercups. That means what most people would consider weeds are grown in our garden. Look at this. This is my first ever chamomile flower. Never before have I actually blossomed a chamomile. This is the German variety. And so I'll be picking these flowers off and drying them to make tea out of them. Isn't that incredible? I'm so excited about that. So you get to witness the first time I've actually seen my flowers blossom. And there's actually one of those evil little beetles on there too. So let's hope they're beneficial because they are everywhere. To the point that I'm like, oh man, should I be out here harvesting all my crops? So I was trying to figure out for a while what kind of carrots these were. These actually turned out to be baby Paris market carrots. So yeah, I'm going to pull some up. Oh, this one's not. That looks like a new Carota. So this just looks like I mixed a whole bunch of carrots in together and didn't know what I was doing, which is actually probably accurate. Or I let my boys do it because I'm a big advocate on letting kids help you out in the garden. If you want to encourage a kid to do something, you gotta let them mess it up. Whether it's gardening, whether it's washing dishes, trial and error is how I learned. I think it's important to let your kids in there, or also, in my opinion, they tend to grow up to be teenagers that have been pushed out of the kitchen so long they don't want to get back in, and that really goes for anything in life. I don't really see any other carrots to show off. This was supposed to be bee balm. I had never grown bean balm before, so I wasn't certain, but I'm telling you, I've seen a lot of catnip plants, and this looks a lot like those catnip plants. I tried it, and it was so spicy, I could barely handle it. It was like the most pungent oregano taste you could possibly imagine. It was overwhelming, and so I'm not sure what I have here. I would really like to know. If you know, hit me up in the comments and let me know, because until it flowers, I'm really not sure. And actually, now I'm looking at the small leaves. It appears that that's what this plant is. So it looks like my little flower propagated itself, or we threw some more wildflower seeds in. So that's pretty interesting. Here I have some squash. These are just some simple yellow neck squash. I don't actually know the name. It's just something I bought from Burpees to get some squash out of for this year. I have the worst luck with squash, so I'm just kind of overplanting, and I'm going to succession plant and sow and pray that I actually get squash this year. That's my whole goal in life. Just hope for the best. This is a gypsy pepper. I've never grown one of these before, so that's pretty interesting. This is another muscadine cross. Here's some more peppers. These are also gypsy peppers. Here is another one of my baby artichokes. I see these full grown on videos all the time, but I've never seen what they look like. So I'll definitely be taking some pictures, maybe adding them to Instagram to kind of be able to remember what the babies look like at the different stages. And I may just come through and make a video of that at some point too. So here's our stonehead cabbages. I know that this is the worst time of year to grow cabbage in Southeast Texas. I actually eat all the leaves too. I expected these cabbages to go ahead and flower already, and they haven't, so I'm taking advantage of it. I don't know if it's going to be bitter. It's a little cabbage because I planted them late in spring, but a little experimentation doesn't hurt anybody. I'm the only one in the whole house that eats cabbage anyways, and these leaves are just perfect for little cabbage rolls. It's also my attempt at growing. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Whoa. Oh, wow. So, I was going to show off my plant, but now look at this. I don't know how well you can see it. There's actually a little baby in it. I really should be leaving this alone, so I'm going to stop messing with it, even though I'm so fascinated. There's just so much cool stuff going on in the garden this year. When I first started, look at those. I know Brussels sprouts don't grow in Texas in spring, but let me have my fun. You know, when I first started growing, I just wanted to kind of be a utility gardener, but I'm finding more and more joy throughout everything that I grow. So this is just really exciting. I say seek out your joy, find your fun, enjoy learning, and definitely just enjoy the nature part of it. share what you learn, be willing to ask questions and make mistakes, because I tell you, I probably killed more plants than most people you know. My family comes over all the time and they ask what's my secret to gardening, and I say overplanting. That's definitely it. Overplanting, so it looks like I still have a lot growing when I just had a lot die. This right here is my oldest son's garden bed. Just a quick glimpse, because I want to remember what it looks like, so that in a couple of weeks you can go back and kind of see the growth. And it's really encouraging to kind of have video footage or photos and look back to what you had. I have no idea what these plants are. So I hope this encourages you to get out and risk some effort and some time and just throw some seeds in a garden and see what happens. Thank you so much for joining. Guys, I came out to show you a video about my front garden, but there is this dude. Let's see if I can get a better picture. This little lizard right there hanging out in my mint plants. Isn't that cool? How's that for